Discover learning with business skills. Elevate your experience with Book Hubs. Discover more with Food Brush Co. Enhance your journey with Fill Plate. One-day trial for 1 cent. A service fee of $34.99 a month will then apply. Cookskills.com. Tastybites.co. Tastyskills.com. Tastytroves.com. We think digital. Unlock your digital potential. Creating next-generation digital experiences. Creating next-generation digital experiences. The slop won't stop. And all that nonsense just exists to trick you into giving these guys your money and to let them get away with it. And they've been getting away with it for longer than you probably realize. The entrance to this rabbit hole was discovered when I and a couple other people in a Discord server decided to figure out what would happen if you clicked one of those sketchy-looking ads. It led us to this website called themindcraftly.com, telling me to sign up for something called Vegemania, but the others clicked the same link and saw The Fit No and WebLearn Co., so that's already weird. And I mean, this page is obviously a scam. We've got these big buttons telling us to sign up with Apple or Google Pay. Everything is AI generated. And it says you'll get a 1-day free trial and then be charged like $40 a month after that. Needless to say, do not go to these websites, and if you do, absolutely do not click on anything. This kind of page makes it very easy to accidentally bump a few buttons, especially on a touchscreen, and just sign up for this bullshit subscription without even realizing what happened. These online courses you'll supposedly get access to are almost certainly just PDFs full of ChatGPT garbage that is not worth any amount of money, especially not 40 United States dollars every month. Like, even if these were actually educational online courses, that'd still be insanely overpriced. And if you do sign up and want to unsubscribe, you have to contact their support number or email that's hidden away in this FAQ, and obviously they will just never get back to you. If you fall for something like this, you basically just have to tell your bank that your credit card has been compromised and you need a new one. But we were still curious, and we ended up finding a few other very similar scammy websites and a company based in Cyprus called Mobisaurus Limited that seemed to be responsible. And their official website, mobisaurus.co, is just great. We've got some bangers such as Happy Clients, trusted by 100'S of the world's largest brands, and a lot of lorem ipsum placeholder text. The site seems to be like a WordPress template that was barely even edited. I mean, like, it even has these placeholder logos for brands that don't exist. And these logos were actually a bit of a red herring because we were trying to figure out what the fuck Velocity 9 and Earth 2.0 are. But it turns out they're just from this WordPress plugin thing. It's nothing that crazy. So is Mobisaurus the company running these ads? Well, when we searched up the Mindcraftly on the Google Ads Transparency Center, we found that they were all sponsored by a company called Zodiac Technologies DMCC. They're based in Dubai, and so is this other company run by the same CEO, and that company is called Aurora AI. Both of these companies' websites are full of very generic tech business marketing buzzword soup, but if you go to the cookie policy page for Aurora AI, you'll notice in the very first sentence it mentions something called fans.whisperly.com. Huh? This website is auroradigital.ai. What the fuck is Whisperly? So if we go to that site, it's obviously a sort of rip-off OnlyFans with all these AI profiles, and the company that owns this site is called Blipio Limited. This one's registered in the UK, and through a lot more Googling, we uncovered literally dozens of other companies that all seem to be running these exact same scams. So this is obviously a way bigger operation than we first thought. I did a little bit more investigation on my own, and I think I figured out how this all came to be. Let's go back to the beginning, over 2 decades ago. In 2003, when both the internet and cell phones were relatively recent innovations, a company called Mobitrans was founded in China. You can find the original version of mobitrans.net on the Wayback Machine, which was this really awesome website. Apparently they provided mobile translation services, but it's kind of hard to say exactly what they were getting up to at this time because there are a lot of links and images and flash animations that weren't archived. We do know that the company expanded into the Netherlands and the Middle East, and then in 2005 the website seemingly went dark. But Mobitrans re-emerged in 2006. I think what happened was the Chinese headquarters shut down and the office in Dubai took over the brand. The new Emirati version of Mobitrans provided some sort of mobile services or marketing or something. As we move forward along this timeline, we can see their website change its style a few times. And my favorite is this version from 2009. Like, it's got this little compass as the menu to select different pages, which is so cool. I mean, like, back in 2009, even the evil slop companies had some, like, cute web design that wasn't just completely soulless. Anyway, we don't hear much about Mobotrans from the average consumer perspective, like real people, until 2015. This blog very dutifully reported on this first big untrustworthy incident from this company. Basically, Mobotrans had an app called Mobile Academy, and at this time it was common to make payments on your mobile devices that would be charged directly to your phone bill, especially for things like ringtones and any sort of premium content. The issue was that Mobotrans was signing people up for their app and charging a subscription fee without these people even knowing. And EE, a major mobile carrier company in the UK, seemed to be complicit here as well. This blog, alongside this news article, show us that there was a good amount of consumer outrage against this, but Mobotrans avoided consequences by claiming that these people actually did sign up for the app. And maybe they did, and they just didn't understand what they were doing. But if this many people are accidentally subscribing to your service that no one actually wants, and you're making it very difficult to unsubscribe or access any kind of customer service at all, that is intentional. That is a scam. So even though they didn't get any actual legal trouble, Mobotrans had gained a pretty bad reputation, and EE finally stopped enabling them and cut ties, so they rebranded. The company's new name was First Screen. There isn't a lot of information about what they were doing between 2016 and 2021, but we do know that the people who worked at First Screen's office in Dubai fucking hated it. Reviews on Glassdoor reveal that this company has no real products, just ad pages to trick people into subscribing to their services forever. And on top of that, the management was apparently very rude and everyone there was miserable. So if Mobotrans had ever provided any real non-scam products or services, they definitely weren't doing that as First Screen. In 2022, the CEO, a Portuguese guy named Gonçalo Lage, created a new company called Zodiac Technologies. He was only officially in charge of Zodiac and First Screen, but around this time a lot of suspicious LTDs were founded, mostly in the UK or Cyprus. They're all named nonsense words like Lunar Sage and Telenex and Bylink and yes, Mobisaurus and Blipio. The websites for these businesses are all extremely similar, literally just using the same couple WordPress templates and filling them with digital buzzword nonsense. And if you look up any of these companies on official registry sites, they each have someone listed as director who is almost certainly not a real person. But these websites aren't where the scams are actually conducted. It kind of seems like they only exist to make the fake companies slightly more plausible, but honestly they just raise even more suspicion. I mean, some of these sites use the exact same stock photo, a lot of the links and buttons are completely broken, and some of the business email addresses are just hello@whatever.com, like, hello, what's up Gonçalo? How many people have you scammed this month? But anyway, there are dozens upon dozens of other website domains operated by these guys. Almost all of them are selling an online course of some kind. Like, allegedly, if you subscribe, you get access to a bunch of recipes or fitness plans or ebooks, I guess. There are kind of two categories of these websites. There's these stable sites, which look kind of normal, like they might not immediately jump out as a scam to the average person, especially like your grandma who's just looking for some recipes online. Of course, if you click on any of these pages, they'll want you to put in your credit card info and they'll slurp up as much money as they can from anyone who does that. But the second type of scam in this whole network is what we discovered at the very beginning. They're also advertising the same courses as the stable sites, but which specific course the page displays seems to be either randomized or dependent on cookies or something. These are the shifting sites. Basically, disposable domains that are all interchangeable, so when one of them gets flagged as unsafe or whatever, there are dozens more that can keep running the same scam. The domain names are all very generic too, shit like Content Trends and Streaming Zone, and this is where you'll end up if you click on one of these Zodiac-sponsored ads. Big buttons that autofill your payment info and tiny fine print that lets them get away with it on a legal technicality, and most people who get scammed by these sites will never realize who exactly is scamming them. You can look up any of the stable sites on Trustpilot, which is basically a website where people review other websites and how safe and trustworthy they are, and you'll see a lot of people calling out the scams. A lot of them report that they didn't mean to subscribe to anything, they just accidentally tapped their phone when an ad popped up and suddenly their bank account's getting drained. So if you're the type of person who thinks that if someone's stupid enough to get scammed, they deserve it, well, first of all, I don't think someone being a little gullible means all their money should get taken by this random company in Dubai. And also, a lot of these people didn't fall for anything. They didn't think they were signing up for an online course. They were essentially pickpocketed by digital sleight of hand. First Screen doesn't even need to trick people into genuinely thinking these sites are trustworthy if they can just set up a booby trap and catch whoever falls in. Pretty recently, around the end of 2025, First Screen rebranded again to Aurora AI. I think this is just to capitalize on the trendiness of AI as a concept. At the bottom of their website, you can see these little badges claiming to be an official partner of Google and Meta, which basically just means they're trusted to run ads through those companies' ad platforms on behalf of their clients, which are the scam sites themselves. Needless to say, Google should not trust Aurora AI. Google should not be allowing Zodiac to run ads that blatantly, intentionally trick people into subscribing to bullshit courses run by fraudulent companies. But they probably get a lot of good money from Zodiac running thousands of ads at a time, so they'll continue to allow this to happen. And this company couldn't even be shut down back in 2015 when all the wrongdoing was clearly attributable to Mobitrans. Now the scam is scattered across all these websites, all these different companies, and it isn't super obvious that it traces back to the same place. The individual websites can get bad reviews and even get shut down, but unless every victim of the scam realizes that Aurora AI /FirstScreen/Mobitrans is responsible, they'll keep flying under the radar, like they have for the past 20 years. So if you take anything away from this video, don't treat online scams like they're some naturally occurring hazard of the internet. Behind all the AI-generated nonsense, there are real people responsible for this stuff, and they're relying on our lack of curiosity to maintain their faceless anonymity. Like, it wasn't that difficult for me to find all of this information, but I did have to actively go out of my way to look for it. Complacency is what allows this kind of thing to continue. And more generally, we live in an extremely profit-driven world where every company wants to extract as much money as possible. Even if they're not literal scammers like Aurora, they'll still use manipulative tactics and exploit people wherever they can. Basically, stay safe on the internet, and thank you for watching my video.